What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel known as Azure. I am your gracious host, Daniel, followed by my co-host,
Julian. Today we're doing Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Now, you might be wondering, why are we doing such an old TV show? Well, the reason I wanted to bring it up was because recently, this past March, it hit its 15-year anniversary since the air date.
Well, also, there's the Netflix special that's the series is coming out at some point. So
I was about to get to that, so yeah, that's why.
It's good to talk about what we like and see the adaptation will be effective, showing those good signs of the show when it comes out. They still haven't said the release date, right?
It's supposed to be sometime around this year.
Well, now that the production's delayed, it might be 2021.
Either way. Well, yeah, I was about to get to that too. So, yeah. So, if you guys don't know what Avatar is, what the hell is wrong with you? And if you do, good job. But mainly it follows the story of an airbender named Aang, who is basically the last of his kind because he froze himself in water when the whole Fire Nation, which is the bad guys in this case, burned his people to the ground.
Full-on genocide.
Yeah, basically the kid version of Holocaust, except concentration camps.
Well, that's what it's a version. Yeah, I mean, it's a genocide. That's a good way of saying it.
That's why. Alright, either way, so it's Aang. He wakes up 100 years after the war, and the war is still going on. And the people who find him are actually two water tribe people called Katara and Sokka.
Yeah. And
the basis is that the whole series revolves around them going to any destination they can so Aang could learn waterbending, earthbending, and firebending before Sozin's comet comes around, which is something that gives firebenders a big amount of power. Like, when I say tenfold, maybe?
Yeah, well, it's also there for him to figure out the Avatar state, as he originally rejected it when he was still a young kid.
I don't want to say he rejected it. He rejected the role of being the Avatar, not the whole state itself.
Yeah, but that's why, since he rejected the role, he couldn't really fully understand. So he has to learn that in certain big episodes, like
Guru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one big one.
Yeah, either way. So yeah, some of the little character analysis is that Aang is like an optimistic, caring person. He likes to see the good in everyone, and
pacifist.
He's a pacifist mainly because that's what airbenders are. They tend to detach themselves from the worldly affairs and all that.
Well, monks in general, which is what he's based off of, which is a good sign of showing the inspiration.
Yeah, because this whole thing is like inspired by Eastern philosophies and all that, and like Asian cultures too.
Well, Buddha culture. Around India and China. That's the main one.
Yeah, India's part of Asia.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, you said Middle Eastern. What I mean is just all of it, like a lot of the Asian.
I was starting off to say Middle Eastern, but I changed to Eastern.
Oh that makes sense.
So, yeah. Another thing is he's kind of a prodigy when it comes to bending. Like, he mastered airbending at the age of 12, which is something you don't really normally do. Same thing with waterbending too. He came easy to him, like in the whole episode of Waterbending Scroll when Katara's trying to teach him some stuff.
Yeah, he learns it too quick.
He does, yeah, and he kind of surpasses her in that one episode.
Yeah.
But I say somewhat prodigy because earthbending and firebending are kind of hard for him, mainly because the show explains that earthbending is a natural opposite to airbending.
Yeah, I like how they do physical and spiritual though. As the physical aspect is earthbending, it doesn't really. He can't figure it out at all, and then the spiritual and emotional is firebending, as he sees that he has the mindset that it hurts others, and he doesn't want to feel like that as a pacifist, which is shown in the episode where he hurts Katara, and it takes until figuring it out from Zuko that he understands what it can do for him.
Not really he figured out from Zuko, he figured out from the Sun Warriors, that's what.
Yeah, but Zuko's the one who helps him out with more of the...
No, he just teaches him how to firebend. Zuko's just there to be a teacher. Usually the Sun Warriors gave him the piece of the fire that he made it realize it was like a heartbeat. It's a living, breathing thing.
Yeah, they're one of them. But I'm saying that Zuko is a good showing of what that is. That not all firebenders are what's his name again? Not Sozin. Sozin's the old one.
Zhao.
Yeah.
Yeah. How Zhao is basically using firebending to be power hungry and all that.
Yeah, because Aang's first example of firebenders are Zula, who's kind of crazy and pretty violent.
Yeah. Okay, back to characters. Katara is mainly she's a kind person. She's also the maternal figure in the whole gang.
Kind, caring, smart, and knows her head pretty well of what to do in the world. Of
course, and also I don't know why this came up, but she's not really a Mary Sue. Nothing comes easy to her either.
Well, it's more like she knows what it's more like she can back up her skills by knowing what to say and what to do, as shown in the Water Tribe episode. She
when she fought Master Paku and all that.
Like she knows her stuff and she can still lose as, a master. It's just she knows how to like back up her words.
Exactly, but I mean, like I was like looking around some forums and stuff, like people were calling her Mary Sue and all that. I'm like, no, she's not that.
Well, I think it's part of the mother figure thing where like she is supposed to be like kind of I forget what it's like the author's avatar, which she's kind of like supposed to speak for the author in some ways of like that kind of thing where she is supposed to be writing a lot of the episodes, which makes people think that.
Yeah, I can see that. Another character would be her brother Sokka. He's kind of like a stubborn, hard-headed person. What did you say?
Well, also he has the overconfident kind of like he wants to have like that kind of jock personality of like,
that's true. But I mean,
I'm a leader, right? Like I'm the best. I'm like
I know what you're saying. But he does kind of make up for it in like the sense that he's actually like determined to be a good fighter and all that. Because like in the beginning, Zuko could beat him like pretty easily without even using firebending. But now, like 2 seasons later, when he learns how to sword fight, he can basically stand his own again.
Well, he's also accepted he's not like the leader. Good examples of characters like him would be like Usopp from One Piece or Junpei Iori in Persona 3. They want to be the leaders, but they soon realize that they might not be that, but they have the role in their team that matters too. And it's shown in the biggest one is when he makes a sword and he does training.
Sword master,
I
was talking about that.
Yeah, he does the training with the meteorite too. Yeah. That's a good one, and there's a few other scenes where he figures out his role in the group that makes him feel worthwhile.
I want to say like in the role he's more like the tactician because that's what he is.
He's also an inventor. Yeah, that's a big one.
He likes to do research and everything too.
Yeah.
Well, no, the inventor would actually be the actual inventor from the Eastern Air Temple, I think.
Yeah, but what I mean is that in the group, he's the one who like comes up with the schemes or like, okay, this is how we should do this to make this thing happen. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that he knows how to like. He's the one who'd probably know how to use these inventions in the like stories. Like this is how we should do it, where the other characters aren't as like technical.
Yeah, I guess
a good way of saying it.
Another few standout characters would probably be Zuko and Iroh. Right. Yeah. Within the first few
Zuko and Toph are the other two characters. They come later, but they are part of the group.
I mean, I was starting drifting away from the group. That's why just in
characters. Oh, you're just saying in general.
Yeah. Okay. That's why. So Zuko is kind of an interesting take because like within the first few lines of his dialogue, you kind of like have a feeling he's gonna be a sympathetic villain because I don't know if you remember, but I was recently watching the first episode again. Like it stated like then and there like why he's trying to hunt the Avatar for his honor and everything, and like it's like a noble act. Like you're not doing this for power. You're not doing this to kill someone. You just want to be back with your family and your terrible father because his father's terrible.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that he's trying to show his. Well, it's kind of thing where he's trying to show that the low expectations shouldn't be shown for him because he's able to show his valor, and he only truly shows his valor once he stops caring about it. Once he realizes the actual importance in what he's doing, that's when he becomes strong enough to beat his sister and show his worth to society, to the world.
Yeah.
And Iroh helps him with that, as he says, you gotta calm down, you have to figure out what you have to do. And the biggest one being with lightning, figuring that out. He's like, no, you have to, the way you're doing it is wrong. Yeah, and I'm like, it's only like me and a few others are able to do that. Anybody else could die. And it's like, you gotta calm down with this.
Well, it's not like you could die, and all the fact that it's just like it blows up in your face. Like.
Yeah.
But another thing is, though, like, speaking of Iroh, like, he's probably one of the best characters if not the best character in the show because, like, honestly, like, of course he was like a war general and everything, but like the way he's depicted, like some sort of sage and everything like that.
Yeah. Well, because he's multifaceted, because he has the word. Because even though he kind of is retired, he has the kind of like funny, silly side which you're already not expecting. He still has the signs of a war general when he needs to, as shown that he still has a toned body. And he has that sadness to him if he needs to, where he can get serious and have emotional scenes. It's not just a funny, goofy guy.
Yeah, it's not to underestimate like, his capability to fight and lead and all that. Just like he's probably the best one because like out of all the hardships, he chose to be like a decent person. Like no matter what went his way, he chose to still be a decent person. Even as a war general, like he was still like somewhat optimistic and everything. Yeah. Even though it was just fighting for his own cause.
He never got consumed by his power. He's supposed to be a good parallel to
Hosei,
well, his brother. Yeah, the brother, where it's one got consumed by power and only cares about I don't care if I murder or anything else. I just need to be the best. Whereas Iroh is like I just want to teach others and I like my nephew and I want to just be chill and have good interactions with the world.
Yeah. speaking of like parallels, like there's a whole bunch of parallels within characters themselves. Like here we have Aang and Toph are two parallels. Like one of them is headstrong and like
really aggressive, likes violence.
Exactly. And Aang's here just like, oh, let me think about this. I need to think. I need to meditate. I don't want to fight you. And then we have Ozai and Iroh, we were talking about. One got consumed power, and one just like, oh, I don't care about one power. But then, probably like one of the best ones would probably be Azula and Zuko. Like here we have Azula, who's like a prodigy and is able to master blue fire, which is something that only a handful of firebenders can actually do.
Yeah,
and somewhat a perfectionist.
Isn't it only her and her father?
No, Ozai didn't. Her grandfather Azulan.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 people, right?
Yeah, right.
There's only like 3.
Legit little handful of people.
Even less. It's like...
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like,
crazy.
She's so calm and collected in the most part. Like, and then Zuko, here we have like somewhat bumbling kind of person who can't even master like basic techniques without getting hot-headed.
Yeah. Well, it's like that old example of... what is it? Zuko is the Goku, Azula is the Vegeta. One is born to be... like the perfect like person in fighting, and the other one's supposed to be a chump. But it shows at the end when he faces with Katara that he eventually becomes the true master.
That's mainly because like all that perfectionist, all that skill that she had, it was kind of gnawing away at her mindset. Like during the last few episodes, she was kind of going crazy. Like in her raid on the Western Air Temple, like she was happy that she was about to kill her own brother.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
It's that old thing where like she was not able to make peace because everyone already gave her the praise. Whereas since Zuko had that hardship, he was able to fully become like a master of his own being.
Yeah.
Whereas Azula only knew fighting, not herself, which just shows because she wasn't able to handle her mother. She still had that trauma where she like threw the
brush at the mirror. And all that. That's mainly because like she couldn't say goodbye to her mom and the last thing like. She remembers her mother saying to her was like she's a monster and all that. Mm-hmm. That's why like I always like the old saying goes like if you have father issues you're gonna be a people pleaser, and if you have mother issues you're gonna be a psychopath.
Yeah, it could be
or a sociopath.
It could be something.
Yeah.
What I like about Avatar most is that it doesn't go into the feeling of just like being flanderized or just having the stereotype be their only character. As Aang can get pissed sometimes. He does break. One example is when Appa got kidnapped. He just fully became like violent and angry, and like the exact opposite. Or the example is that Katara can still be reckless when it's something important, as showing in the where she learns blood bending.
Well, no, that time wasn't really recklessness. Just because like she was kind of forced to do it. But one example of her being reckless was when she stole a waterbending scroll from a group of pirates. And didn't realize the consequences of it. Yeah. So another thing is that when Aang lost his shit was when the season 2 premiere.
Oh no! One example of recklessness is the Jet one, where she like fell into Jet's like ways because he's like, oh, but he's a nice guy. It's like, no, you just like him for like not the right reasons. You have this like rose tinted glasses, and it's actually like a problem. And it's only till Sokka and some other people get through her that she's like, oh no, this guy's actually like...
No, it wasn't even that. Like Sokka didn't get through her. Like she saw the explosives by the dam and everything. That's when she realized that.
And then she's like, oh yeah, I realize now that I was being like
stupid.
Yeah, which is like the opposite, where she's supposed to be smart. And that's what I like is that certain things will make their characters do the inverse, because that's how being human is. You're not always gonna be the same stereotype.
Damn, man, I lost my train of thought. You cut me off. Right when I was about to go on a rant. And you cut.
Well, because like I was trying to think of recklessness, and so anyways,
I can't remember what I was gonna say anymore.
So one thing is that, what do you think your favorite arc is? I think Ba Sing Se is still probably the best arc, because it kind of shows that it's like we need this. This is supposed to be the perfect place to go to, and it shows that there's still like this corruption of a government that's very like. Even though they're supposed to be their allies, they're supposed to try to like get help from them. It's actually like, no, we don't want certain things. This thing didn't happen in Ba Sing Se. Like, we're a bad government. We're corrupted, and so they actually have to. Oh,
I just remember what I was gonna say. Right? No, I'll get back to you on that part. But one thing I was gonna say, like another thing when Aang lost his shit when he got all full on pissed off was the season 2 premiere. When that general wanted to control him in the Avatar state and all that, you remember that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
When he was about to sink Katara into the ground, when he actually did it, he actually sank Katara into the ground, and I put him in the Avatar state. And he was so pissed off, he was almost about to kill someone again. Yeah. That's the thing too. Like, that's another thing I wanted to bring up too. I was still gonna go back to the Ba Sing Se part, but probably like my favorite arc would probably be, shit. What was I gonna say? Okay, I lost my train of thought because of that part. But no,
because the last part of Ba Sing Se also shows that where Aang decides to go away to help to save like Katara, and he's like, no, you're not supposed to do that. You might lose your avatar state, and because of that, Azula's able to easily get him with the lightning bending, and then that's the end of that arc. Is that his selfishness in a sense, but selflessness kind of does his own undoing.
No, I call it selfish because he, rather than saving the world, he wanted to just save one person.
Yeah,
but I mean, like,
and that's his undoing.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Like, this show is optimistic at heart, but it doesn't mean it's like afraid to deal with some dark themes. Like overall, it's a really happy show. Like,
there's consequences.
Yeah, but really it shows the consequences of the actions. Like in the beginning when we brought up like Aang was frozen for 100 years. Like, all his people died, and he actually saw his master's corpse. Like, that's the thing. This show kind of gets dark at times.
Well, how many seasons did he have the guilt? Because I even remember like season 3, he still had some of that.
He still has guilt in him. Yeah, but I mean, like, the fact that they showed a freaking decaying corpse in the 3rd episode means that this show could go into some dark places.
Well, yeah, Aang's reaction is really why it hits home.
Yeah, that's why.
That's why I was like, oh man.
Another episode. Another thing was like, where it's not afraid to be like dark theme was like the whole melancholy ending that you were talking about with the whole Avatar state. Like, he actually died. He died in that episode, and then Katara ever just brought him back. But it shows that they're not afraid to actually push some limits to what it is. Like even the whole bloodbending episode you were talking about, like, that's a dark episode, man. You could imagine trying to control someone using their own blood.
I mean, truly the biggest hitter is obviously Iroh's son dying, and being the funeral for Iroh's actor himself as a tribute to what he did.
Yeah, the whole Mako,
is the one that really hits hard. Like, it's not dark, but it definitely, like, because it's all like nice and oh man, I feel good, and then bam,
it hits you.
You go to the tree, he sings a song, and then just ends.
Yeah, it hits you. It hits you right in the feels. This show will hit you in the feels. But that's the thing about this show. Like, it's good all around. Like, most of the time, like, all episodes are basically 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. The one thing I want to bring up is like the whole Great Divide episode. Like, that one apparently gets people.
Yeah, it's a weak one.
Yeah, it's apparently the weakest one. Apparently, I understand it, but I also don't really see why. Like, it has some weak points, like the whole Aang lying thing. Like, it's mainly the like nonsense filler and everything. Yeah. But another thing, like, it's not really out of his character to lie. Because like a few episodes later in Bato, when they met Bato, he kind of lied too, because he hid the water trap, he hid the parchment of where Sokka and Katara's dad's gonna be from his friends, because he was kind of being selfish again. Like,
part of it is, I think it's, if you compare it to another thing that could be considered a little fillery, being the cave episode, is that 1, character interactions aren't as good. 2, the actual side characters aren't fun or interesting to like talk about or see, and then 3, they still had character development and it would foreshadow things in the future. Yeah. Whereas the Great Divide is just, oh, this is nothing, and the characters aren't that interesting to like see them in this scenario, right?
Yeah. Another thing about the cave thing is, like, I actually found that a pretty interesting episode. Like, I like the whole hippies motif and everything. Like, I kind of found them funny. Yeah,
because that's the example, right? Like, people like them as like filler characters, but the Great Divide is just a bunch of people complaining and being angry. That's why people don't care as much about that episode.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, like, it's not bad. That's definitely not the case. But it is definitely weaker, where I can see why people would want to skip it, because there's no real reason to watch it after the first time.
There's no real stakes to it. There's no actual like development with characters in the Great Divide episode. Yeah.
And there's no interactions either. Really.
Yeah, not that mainly. Like, the whole episode, like, Zuko and Iroh aren't even in it. Yeah.
Like, another good one would be like the forest episode where Aang first sees Toph again, because that gives a lot of like, oh, who's this character? And so it gives you that foreshadowing, that hook of like, I gotta keep on watching these episodes.
And of course, it also shows that, like, even though these characters have come so far, they still have some regrets, like some things they can't get past, like the forest showing Katara her mother, and Sokka showing Yue who became the moon, which is like, yeah, that's rough, buddy.
Oh yeah, that's that's definitely a good line.
Man,
later episodes,
of course. What do you think of the how do you think the outcome of the series finale went? Like, the whole like chi bending and all that. Like, I found like a lot of people didn't like it. Like, it was a cop out,
but it's the best thing they could have done with the network.
Yeah, that's why. Like, because they can't really like have Aang kill someone in the series finale. And like, I guess like in some ways it was kind of there, like behind the scenes, like the whole chi bending type thing. Cause
well, that's the thing with the turtles. That was the first thing where it's like, they kind of did have to make it a bit Deus, like, oh, this is my MacGuffin to like solve everything without having to worry. and I mean everything else was great in that episode though. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing. Like the fight itself too is just that, and honestly, that's just the end of Avatar. There's no comics, there's no Korra. It's just that's how I see the ending of Avatar is. There's no movie, there's no Netflix adaptation.
The movie,
because no matter what, even if the Netflix adaptation or obviously the movie's bad,
yeah,
there's always the original series, which is good. Is a tight little package. That's all you need.
I mean, speaking of the comics, like I would say give the comics some bit of a read. Don't read like the Lost Adventures. Like that one's just like straight up filler basically. But like the whole Rift, the Promise, and all that, they're actually pretty good. Especially like the Promise, where like you see like it's kind of like the leading up to Korra. That's what it is. Like essentially like Zuko's trying to like destabilize the whole Fire Nation colonies that have been set up since the beginning of the war.
Yeah.
But like they've gone along so well since the war first started. Like it's kind of hard to like just take those people back. So it presents like somewhat of a good. It's basically a good arc on itself. Like that's what it is. So I would say like you could disregard the comics if you want, but I'm saying like at least give them a chance. Like
if you want more content, yeah. If you're content with what you see, then yeah, it's good to just keep the series as it is, untainted from other media. But yeah, if you wanted more content to see their interactions, yeah, the comics are a good way to see it.
It also like sets up more like somewhat last minute character development too, like
because there's not that much in Korra. So yeah, if you really want to see the characters, it's really only the comics you can really do it in. As obviously the Netflix one is just retelling the story, and the movie is another retelling the story, even though they're both probably not that great. Well, Netflix hasn't come out yet. But
the movie was just straight terrible.
The movie is known to be bad. Yeah, we already know. It's just known to be bad. Netflix will have to see.
Honestly though, like I want to say like people say that they whitewashed Aang, but I mean like if you kind of look at Aang's design, he kind of is white. Like,
well, see, the thing is that honestly the problem is that they didn't do the ethnicities right. I think the creators themselves said it, so the fact that they're not what the creators intend is like if in One Piece when they do the Netflix one, they don't make Luffy Brazilian. Like the creator specifically said he's a Brazilian. If you don't make him Brazilian, or you don't make Robin Russian. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. He said it specifically. Like, that's why. It's because if the creators already said it, make it a character. Like, even if they made, like, Luffy black, it's, like, still... Like, he's Brazilian.
Yeah. Well, I say that technically Aang's kind of white because if you look, like... His character's like the typical white thing. He's pale skin, he has rounded eyes... Everything's like sort of around.
The big one is the Fire Nation because like the Fire Nation do not.
Yeah, they're not all Indian looking people. They're actually kind of.
Well, also diverse. The Water Nation being white is big one.
Yeah, that's true too. Like the whole Water Nation being white and the whole Fire Nation being Indian.
But we'll see how the Netflix one does it. Hopefully hopefully it's better. I mean, obviously it'll be better because as long as it's not the worst thing ever, it's gonna be better. But
of course,
we'll see how it goes. But other than that, obviously watch Avatar if you haven't, and if you have, rewatch it.
Yeah,
you'll probably get something new from it.
I'm currently rewatching it right now, and I want to say like, as a kid, I didn't notice some things like, in the first season of Zuko's like character design, like he has more like sharp edges to him, but then once he's in Ba Sing Se, and then the third season, like he kind of smooths out like his chin. Usually
it's more round.
Yeah, his chin gets more round.
There's an old saying about
how bad guys are kind of like more
triangular, and then circles supposed to feel nicer.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like. There's not just character development in like their actual words or actions. There's actually their features like they change. Like they actually show like some smoothness with Zuko. There's some depth into.
That's why characters like Jigglypuff or Kirby will just be giant round thing and everyone loves them.
Of course, yeah.
Or like you show how Crash Bandicoot's crazy, especially in the original series, which isn't shown in the newer designs for the remake. In the original one, he's literally just a bunch of triangle polygons because it's like, oh, this guy's like crazy. Yeah. Here's the triangles. He's not round.
Oh yeah, like,
he's not pudgy Mario, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. But I don't know. That's all I want to talk about. Anything else you want to give up?
I mean, that's it. If we ever want to talk about more stuff, we'll just say part 2. Hey, let's have a general discussion.
Or like, if you guys wanted us to talk about Korra or anything like that, or any other recommendations, because I know you personally don't really like Korra.
Well, if we talk about that, I'll talk more about the behind the scenes stuff and other things like that. But I mean, obviously, the only other big action cartoon we could talk that Cartoon Network did would be Samurai Jack. So we'll probably talk about that when the game is near coming out.
That's true. All right, well, that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll leave a comment to what you guys want to hear in the next one. All right, see ya.